Are you doing this work to facilitate growth or to become famous? Which is more important, getting or letting go?
All right, so I feel like it's important to touch on reparenting. Kind of raising yourself and emotionally validating yourself, emotionally regulating yourself. That's one of the biggest things we lack here in America, period. But definitely those of us that just didn't have that one-on-one time with our parents. Or we might only have one parent, or we might not have had no parents. It's a lot of us out here like that, and still we find ourselves searching for that sense of security, that sense of stability in the world. We searching for our place in the world, and we might have, came to a conclusion that is no place for us in the world. I'm starting to realize, I'm speaking on this because I'm starting to realize just through, past situations and up until now in my life, I realized that, wow, I never got that real one-on-one time. And I know a lot of y'all could resonate with this. That real one-on-one time, them times when, shit might happen at school. You might have needed somebody to sit down and talk to you, make you understand that your emotions matter, make you understand that you matter, that you are valued, that you bring value, that you just important, I'm starting to see, other parents in the world raise their kids, and I see them really sitting down with them and validating their emotions and making sure the child know that they're valued and that they're worth something, so that the child don't go out and try to find that shit in the world and wind up running into all type of relationships and situations that are not beneficial for them and that are more even further traumatizing. So you might find yourself as an adult, 30 years old, 25, 40, even 50, 60, feeling like you don't got your feet on the ground for real, feeling like you don't belong nowhere. A lot of us been feeling like this since the day we was born. So I feel that it's important to speak on this because we're going to be the ones that still step into our mission, still step into our purpose in life, and not use what we didn't have or whatever the case may be as the soundtrack of our lives and be the end all be all to why we at where we at in life right now. So like I said, you might find yourself so-called grown, but just feeling like you still have issues and tantrums and confusion and misunderstandings that a child would have. And it's all right. I'm just finally coming to the conclusion that shit, it's all right. Like, it's okay. And it's important that you understand that for yourself, that it's okay, because you're going to be the one that has to continue to raise yourself. Learn how to emotionally validate yourself. Learn how to emotionally regulate yourself. Now, when we talk about emotional regulation, it's when your parent, a healthy parent, steps in and says, it's okay, you're going to be all right, and just, kind of hold your hand and walk with you and just validate you, So it's going to be important moving forward on your journey that you're able to take the time to do that for yourself. And I know a lot of us have children, and we find ourselves like, damn, can't even believe we have children, because we find ourselves feeling like children too. And I used to feel like egotistical about it, like shit, I should feel grown by now. I should feel like I have it all together. And I never wanted to be that type of person that'd be like, woe is me, and look back and use my past and use what I didn't have and where I come from as an excuse. I could never be a person to do that. And anybody that's really listening to this, I'm pretty sure you one of those people too. You're not one of the people that gonna lay down and just allow your past and your shortcomings and shit like that to be, like I said, the soundtrack of your life. So yeah, like for example, like I grew up, no dad, never met my dad, never saw a sock, never saw a picture, never, nothing, no trace. Never had my mom really present in my life. She had a lot of things going on. And it's crazy because, and I know a lot of y'all could attest to this, it's crazy because even me speaking about it, I still want to protect like the people that I felt like should have been there and they wasn't there, but I really understand they plight too. That's the crazy part. If you really tapped in, you really identify with the parent that wasn't there, like you might look at them and say and have sympathy and empathy for them, and that's good and that's cool, because they got their own traumas and they got their own shit that they went through. You feel me? And you can't use them as a pincushion. You can't use them as a scapegoat and a way to get out of you engaging and transforming and growing inside your own life. And most importantly, being able to be that backbone and being able to be that sense of security, stability, and love for the children that you have, the people that's around you and shit like that. So yeah, like I said, no father, mom not present, and just being raised by my grandmother. And I know a lot of y'all been raised by y'all grandparents, and y'all understand like your grandparent is older. They've been through a lot of seasons in their life, so they wasn't able to give you that one-on-one attention a lot of times, that rub on the back, that pat on the shoulder, that just a whole bunch of time that you would need to start to begin to understand and get a sense of yourself. Like my grandmother did a good job with us, but her attention span couldn't be so big. She'd have raised her own siblings. Then she raised her kids, then she raised her kids' kids, and then she raised her kids' kids' kids. It's just go down the line. So after a while, you burn out and you don't have time to. So it was a lot of us. So she didn't have time to just sit right there and have one-on-ones all the time. And you find yourself just not gaining that sense of you. So you go out into the world and you looking for that sense of who you are, where you fit in at, where you belong, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. And a lot of times we feed our ego. So we going out here, we trying to find a sense of who the fuck we are through people, situations, even items, money, whatever it is, something to validate ourselves in this world because we never got it when we was younger, right? So in a reparenting process, you're going to have to do your best to be patient with yourself. And like the first step is really just admitting you don't got it all together. That's a big step. Admitting that you don't know what the fuck you doing, even if you got children. I really truly believe in my heart, and I know in my past showed me that all of these things happen for a reason. Everything happened for a reason. So it's good to understand that so you could kind of release that feeling of what you should have had and how it should have been, and only if this happened and only if that happened, and dwell on what you lack and start to begin to turn around and turn the tides and start to look at how you can work through whatever you got to work through whatever emotions and whatever confusion, and put yourself together and piece by piece, you feel me? And finally be able to feel like you got a good footing on the ground so that you're able to just, like I said, do what you're here to do. Experience life from an authentic perspective and things like that. Cause like, for example, like I'm a person that never knew how to deal with anger. So as a child and growing into especially my 20s and adulthood and things like that in relationships, I would have just anger outbursts and lack of communication and not knowing how to, be there for another person and really be present and be, you know what I'm saying? And just truly engage. And as the past few years go by, it start to really show as an adult. It start to really show that, wow, I lack these things. I lack the ability to communicate when I'm angry. I lack the ability to be consistent in relationships because I've never really seen it done. I've never had nobody be consistent with me in a relationship. You wind up going into friendships and relationships with already looking for signs of abandonment and shit like that because that's all you know. Then when you wind up having relationships that end in turmoil and just it's just not good. You could take a blow to your confidence even more and feel like you're not prepared for the world even more. You're not prepared to be around others. You're not prepared to be nurturing or caring or anything for other people too. This is a real thing, and this is what creates a lot of, just a lot of people that's self-centered, a lot of people that's narcissistic, a lot of people that's insecure, very doubtful, not confident. I'm just naming all the shit that I've seen myself go through and I continue to go through and fight through on a daily basis. And these are the things and these are the conversations that need to be had. These are the conversations nobody want to talk about because everybody want to act like they got it together. Everybody want to act like they are grown. But truly, you feel like you on a fucking island by yourself. You feel like an alien. You feel alienated and you wonder why you get in the relationships you get in. You wonder why you overcompensate. You wonder why you don't feel adequate. And I'm telling you, it all stemmed back to your upbringing. So, go back in your mind as far as you could go back in your emotional body. Feel how you feel. And I might have to do, a couple parts to this because I'm starting to learn how to feel good in my own body. That's something I've never done in my whole life. I always felt an outsider to my own body, an outsider to the world, and just feel like I'm looking at the world through the sunken place or something because you don't have a sense of self because nobody really nobody really helped you with that. But it's a fork in the road. You're going to either go to victimhood or whatever the case may be, and just that's going to be your soundtrack, or you're going to go to integration. And I've never been a person that wanted pity, Come from a poverty-stricken place. I come from the trenches, so it's like you got to have your poker face on anyway. So all I know is to keep it moving, try to be strong, never use shit as an excuse, and just be real about it. So yeah, you're going to find yourself day after day rubbing up against being impatient, rubbing up against, regulating your anger. Just so many things. It's just multi-layered, multifaceted, and multi-dimensional. And it's not no overnight shit. It's not something that you could just pick up a book and read and then get it all together, some self-help thing. It's not nothing you're going to be able to run behind some form of anything to hide what's really lacking inside yourself. this is something you had to really just be real about. You gotta try to, just try to understand like that you're not like everybody else, everybody not like you, and understand that everybody got a story. And understand that your story is a unique one, but you want to make sure your story got a redemptive quality. Like, I'm here, you listening to me. If you got this far, I'm talking to you. I'm doing my best to articulate how this shit feel, the things that you go through, what I've been through, and things like that, in hopes that if it resonate with you, you could feel like, all right, I'm not the only one. Because this world come at you fast. This world tell you need to be here, you need to do this, you should have been doing this by the time you was this age and shit like that. Everything has a certain time limit on it. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take that filter of the world off and allow yourself that same time that you will allow a child. That same grace that you would give a child, you're going to have to give that to yourself. And you get to a place where you can forgive your parents or whoever wasn't there for you or whoever did what to you. That's a big part of it, forgiveness. Let that shit go and understand like that those people was broken too. Because that's what happens. We don't break the cycle when we get pain and abandonment inflicted on us, and then we go right into another situation and we do it to the next person. You might find yourself feeling like, yo, you just not good enough and you don't deserve a good life, or you don't deserve a second chance or a third chance or whatever the case may be because of the shit you might have been involved in the past. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. The guilt, the shame, the embarrassment, the humiliation, the inadequacies that you feel. It's a big hump to get over. And it should be real, though. And we live in a culture that encourage you to, like, put that shit on the back burner, act like it ain't there, and show your poker face and show up and act like you got everything together. But really, come on, man. It's starting to show now. As a collective, it's starting to show. The kids is younger and younger being on drugs. The kids is younger and younger dying. The kids is younger and younger going to jail. Younger and younger having babies. And it's just a symptom of the lack of validation, the lack of emotional regulation. We got people just getting into miscommunications and then gunfire ringing out and shit like that. And it come from people not being able to even see the next person as a human with feelings and things like that, because they wasn't treated like a human with feelings. They were treated like secondhand smoke. You feel me? Some real shit, man. Like, it's nothing worse than going through life feeling like you don't matter, or feeling like you gotta do the most, and having that shit control you and everything you do and everything you say, and you might be unaware of it. And that's why I just feel that it's important to speak on these type of things. So as you reparenting and basically raising yourself, being your own mom or being your own dad all over again, you gotta give yourself that space, you gotta give yourself that nurturing, and you gotta give yourself the grace to, and the forgiveness, like I said, man, because that guilt and that shame that come from how you might have treated the next person because of your lack of awareness of your traumas. You feel me? We headed to a space in life right now, this 2022, we headed to a space where if you're not sturdy within yourself, within your body, within your mind, and you don't have a good understanding of who you are, you're going to be exploited. This world is, and this society and this culture that we live in is an exploitive place. Like, it's not made to empower you. It's made to take from you. It's made to play on your blind spots. You feel me? And I found myself doing that. I found myself in situations where I'm being manipulated. I find myself feeling like I have to manipulate others in situations because my lack of ability to, feeling like I can't really navigate this earth and this life because of, like I said, not getting that in your younger years. And the thing about it is you can't reach your full capacity. You can't reach your full potential. You can't get on your unique path and be your authentic self until you go and retrieve these parts of yourself back, you know what I mean, and renew, and just put yourself, I don't even want to say put yourself back together, just, you just really got to raise yourself. I don't know, this is a tough one. It's hard for me to really put this shit in words because it's really more of a feeling. It's more of like a cloud over your head type of thing. Like, if you know, you know. Like, I don't know. I'm just doing my best to put it in words. So, growing up, every child go through shit. Every child want to be liked by their peers. Every child want to feel like they cared for, and somebody is thinking about them, and somebody's being thoughtful, and they have their own space. Shit, a lot of us ain't have our own rooms when we was little and coming up and shit like that. Like, I never had my own room when I was young because I had other adults taking my space, coming in with their habits and their mood swings and just a fucked up environment. So it's like, having death all around you and having other children that's not being emotionally regulated, not being validated at home too. So you find yourself and your friends having so many imbalances, not being able to validate each other, not being able to really truly grow in a healthy space with each other, kind of more just really leaning on each other for what you lack and kind of using and abusing each other, and being friends from more of a space of lack and need than a space of just true friendship. So, it's tough. I'm just reaching a space where I could truly be a friend and truly have a friend. Truly be a lover and truly have a lover. Truly love and truly be loved. That's another thing. Like, it's hard to love and especially hard to be loved when you don't feel like you're worth it. You might not feel like nobody else worth it. You might not feel like, man, it's a lot of shit, yo. It's a lot of shit. It's a lot of things. But just don't never feel like you too old, or never feel like you stupid or whatever the case may be. And don't try not to find a target to blame and aim at, because regardless of what happened or what didn't happen in your life, you have the moment you have right now, and you could change all of that. And it's something that I have to remind myself of on a daily basis, because it's still creep in. It's still always trying to linger around, that feeling of inadequacy, that feeling of feeling invalid, feeling unstable. And I run into a lot of people like this throughout my path, throughout my life. A lot of people that need nurturing, that need help, that need a shoulder to lean on. And I found myself being that for them, and really truly wasn't able to really be that for myself. So I look back and I look at a lot of the relationships, they was all trauma-based. They was all trauma bonds. Everything we got in common is just based on lack, based on need, based on us not being validated, based on us being emotionally imbalanced. And that shit turned into abusive relationships on one end of the spectrum or the other end. Some of us are too giving. We overcompensate too much. We get our feeling of ourselves from giving, and not knowing how to receive, not knowing how to take a compliment, Some of us have become takers at one point in our life, so we don't know how to really give, but all we know how to take, and feel entitled. Either end of the spectrum, it's an imbalance. And either end of the spectrum, you're going to find some guilt, you're going to find some shame, you're going to find a feeling of inadequacy, you're going to find a feeling of instability, you're going to find a feeling of just feeling like you don't belong. So, this is the first step, Be real about it, Be real about it. That's all I can really say, Keep it 100 with yourself. Like, I didn't set many times and tried to go to war in my own mind and with my own heart and say what should and shouldn't have happened. Try to justify what I did or didn't do. And that game could go on forever. It could go on forever. You could go on forever trying to reshape the past, but you got to come to the realization that shit is over. And it's your responsibility now. The only other option is to forfeit what the potentials are for you to be, to forfeit your destiny, to forfeit your mission, your purpose, and forfeit the opportunity to break that curse, break that chain, and free yourself and your motherfucking ancestors. You feel me? For all the people that's in your bloodline and in your whole soul group and your soul family that is tied to this shit. Because a lot of this shit ancestral. I don't never talk about that, and I got to get into that. A lot of this shit go back eons. People you've never met. Great-great-great-great-great-grandma. Great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. You know what I'm saying? Like, that went through a lot of these same traumas and faced a lot of these imbalances. And you might find yourself being aware, especially if you listen to some shit like this, find yourself becoming aware of this shit and realizing, you could break the chain. And it feel like a weight on your shoulders. Feel like you got the weight of the world on your shoulders. So you could either pass it on to the next generation, to your children, to your family, to your friends, to your next relationship, or you could be the one to say, I'm not going to make an excuse about it. I'm just going to deal with what's there. I'm going to make space for what's there. I'm going to try my best to look at what's there from an unbiased standpoint. And try to trust yourself. That's the biggest thing, Try to trust yourself with yourself and try to trust yourself in relations with others. That's one of my hardest things is I seen some of the most ugly parts of myself. I seen where I picked it up at. I see where I was wrong at. And I never want to repeat that. And I have to have a level of trust with myself to say I can be in a relationship with others. I can be there for other people. I can be a source of strength for other people. You feel me? I am talented. I am gifted and shit like that. Like all the things I ain't get, I got to be able to validate it now. And just because it is true, and not allow this cloud to hang over your head and tell you just because you came from there that's where you're going to always be at and that's where you're going to be headed at. And I seen a lot of my people, I grew up in the trenches. A lot of my homies never believed they could escape that mentality, never believed they could escape that type of lifestyle and that way of thinking, and a lot of them didn't. A lot of them still struggling, but you gotta turn that pain into some purpose, you feel me? It's one thing to go through something, but you don't need, it ain't for nothing. It's the gift that's in the curse, you feel me? It really is. So you can find yourself growing into redemption and realizing that what happened in your past and the things that you weren't able to receive in your younger years, or all the things that you're ashamed of and shit like that, you could turn that into something that could really be a source of strength for yourself and other people. That's all I'm trying to do. without the blame game, without the pointing the finger at your mom or your dad or your society or your culture or your community. Because we got enough of that shit going on, you feel me? And I'm not no person that do the kumbaya, we need to all come together thing. I'm with the individual transformation. So you change yourself, you transform, it's going to have a effect on everybody around you. And I know it's hard. I know it's easier said than done. Because those of us that need reparenting, we find ourselves sometimes in spaces where our heart turn cold, you know what I mean? And we got to work ourselves about them spaces so that we could connect with others. Because it could get real dark and real cold real fast. You know, you go through some shit and it reignite that trauma that you already got lying dormant within you that you might not even knew was there. And it happened again and it reignite as an adult. And now you start to feel like, oh, it's no way out. I'm just on the island all by myself. And not only that, you find yourself embarrassed to talk about it, embarrassed to speak about it, even hard to really think about it. And that's where we grab for crutches, grab for habits, and grab for pleasures and things, and grab for a way out that some stimulation, some numbness, or some shit that'll make you forget about what's really truly transpiring in your life. You know what I mean? It's a tough pill to swallow. I won't lie. But it's beautiful though. It's beautiful when you start to integrate your real self, your true self, and be able to trust yourself again. And you don't feel like you get your innocence, you know, find your innocence, find your curiosity, find your playful spot, your soft spot again. And not allow, like I said, the things that transpired, the things that was done to you, not allow that to make you a cold, callous person. Because I've been there. Like I said, when I talk from experience. I've been there. I've been a person that felt like, oh shit, fuck everybody, it's about me. People ain't shit. Because I got hurt over here, it's going to happen again over there. Now you feeling like you got PTSD and you can't trust nobody. And that's a real thing. Got to be able to work through that. Sometimes you get hurt in one relationship, or you've been, some people around you might have been disloyal or not been there for you or things like that, stole from you or whatever the case may be, and then you look around you and you expect that out of the people that might not even be on that kind of shit, and you project that onto them, and you could mess up good things like that. And the biggest thing is to try to relax, man. If I could go back and tell myself this 10 years ago, I'd say just relax, bro. Just relax. Just chill out, you know. Just give yourself some time. Find some compassion. A lot of times we be using all our compassion that we should be using for ourselves first. We be trying to use it on other people, and it be really just coming from a place of not even really truly having it anyway. It'd be a gesture which exhausts us even further, get us even further off our mission, off our path, away from our authenticity, and just have us waking up feeling like, like I said, like we on the island, like we don't belong, and like we not worthy, and we not here for that. That's just one part of the story. We ain't here for that. So I'm just here to say, it's all right. You're gonna have to raise yourself. You're gonna have to read. You're gonna have to be honest with yourself. Be okay with the fact that you don't have all the answers. Cause even if you was parented in the right way, if you was raised in the right way, if somebody did validate your emotions in the best way and all that, even if you had the best case scenario you could think of, you still living a life that we don't have all the answers. Nobody have all the answers. So it's going to take trust. It's going to take honesty. It's going to take just being real, man. Just being real and being okay with where you at with it, and not trying to rush the process and run into a dead end trying to take a shortcut. God, just fall in love with the process, fall in love with the truth.